Welcome back. Today we are in beautiful Flagstaff. It's a little windy, so apologies if the audio is a little bad. But you might be thinking, hey, why are you in Flagstaff? That is because we are on our way up from Phoenix to Colorado. We're doing a road trip up there for the Miata Summer Camp this weekend. We're going to do cool stuff up there, track days, cool drives. Overall, a really cool, fun event. And so far, I've basically just made my way up out of Phoenix. I've done 150 miles of the road trip so far. We've still got however much of the 500 miles left. I thought getting out of Phoenix in rush hour traffic probably wasn't that eventful, so you're joining me 150 miles in. And so far, absolutely no problems. This is my first road trip ever. Well, not ever, but in the Miata. And it's done pretty well so far. I'm packed pretty light. A lot of people wonder, hey, can I go on road trips in a Miata? There's not a lot of space. For me, there is, but your mileage may vary. I pack pretty light. I've got, honestly, you can take this out of the equation. This just has my laptop and a bunch of camera stuff in it. This duffel bag has enough clothes for the whole 5 days I'm out, and that's only half of it. The other half is my helmet for the trek. So I've even got backup coolant, some 0W20, and some of the Motul RBF 600 brake fluid that I just put in last night because I was prepping last night. I also got the official Mazda scissor jack in there with the tow hook and all the stuff for that. This doesn't come with the car. This is extra. I just put that in there. Fits really well. And I still got a bunch of space. And that's all I've got. I've got some tools. It's just like a Harbor Freight toolkit. This car only has 12,000 miles on it, and it's very reliable, but you won't catch me not being prepared for anything. The jack might be overkill because if I have a blowout, the jack's not gonna do too much for me without a spare, but staying prepared. So plenty of space. You could fit a whole nother me's worth of stuff in the trunk and a whole nother me in the passenger seat. The interior is empty. Just got my GoPro box, the glove box back here, sunglasses, Dr. Pepper for the road, and yeah. So if you're a light packer like me, road trips pretty easy to do in the Miata. So let's get out and get going. Just making a quick pit stop in Flagstaff to fuel up, get some lunch. I left at approximately 9 or something in the morning. I've got this on my trip B so far. We've done 157 miles, 37.6 mpg so far. All right, pumped our destination back into Waze. We've got 427 more miles to go, 6 and some hours. Should be there at 7 o'clock. I love coming to Flagstaff because you see, I don't know, just the demographic of cars is so different here. OBS Fords, you'll see just all the time, whereas I hardly ever see those down in Phoenix. I don't know, it snows up here, so you get a lot of winter beaters and stuff that you don't get down in the valley. It's honestly, people drive some cool stuff out here. It's honestly just a cool spot. It's even kind of nice out, only 89, whereas down in the valley it's probably still 110, something like that. So pretty nice. Nice big trees. Don't see that in Phoenix, that's for sure. It really does feel like just a completely different world. Even the second, not even that far into the trip, the second you start coming out of the mountains, out of the valley on the I-17, you just feel like you're on a whole different planet. It's foliage and different colors. The ground is just a different color. It's crazy. Speaking like some crazed lunatic that's been trapped in a desert. Not entirely wrong either. this is about where we left off. Supposed to get on the 40 east towards Albuquerque, but I made a quick diversion to get some Chick-fil-A and some gas and use the bathroom. Because it was about that time. It is beautiful up here. I love that mountain. It looks so good. A little distracted. I keep my eyes on the road. Drive 5 miles till the exit. Not that bad. So, some time has passed. We have just left. I've made 2 stops. First stop was out of nowhere. Second stop, just left Landing, Utah, filled up on gas. We have done 415 miles so far. Miata's been great the whole way through. Nothing eventful, like, whatsoever has happened up until this point. The drive post Flagstaff, once you get out of the cool Flagstaff stuff, is just nothing but flat nothingness and like barren wasteland until you hit this Landing, Utah. And now you can see mountains, there was a bunch of trees, there's like all sorts of foliage. It's starting to look nice, and here soon, in the next 2.5 hours, somewhere in there, right before we hit Grand Junction, we'll also go through Moab, which will look really nice. So we're through the tedious, boring part of the drive, and now there's cool stuff to look at. Probably some cool scenic rest stops to go look at too. It'd be pretty cool because the whole way up here has been nothing but barren wasteland. So that'd be fun to see. So also though, for those of you who are wondering, what on earth is Miata Summer Camp? Well, if you're not in the Miata crowd, or maybe you've never heard of Miata Summer Camp. Miata Summer Camp is a multi-day event hosted by the Flyin Miata people. If you have Miata, you've heard of Flyin Miata. They sell a bunch of parts and turbo kits and all sorts of stuff like that. But apparently every summer, this is my first time going, by the way, but every summer they host Miata Summer Camp. And Miata Summer Camp is basically just a bunch of people drive up to their headquarters in Grand Junction, Colorado, with their Miatas. They host a myriad of events. This year they're hosting 3 track days. I'm going to the Thursday track day, which is tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. I'm going to drive in, get there, looks at around 9 p.m. I make a few more stops, so it might be a little bit later. My hotel check-in is set though, so we're good. So, I'm going to get in, I'm going to get a good night's rest, and then early in the morning, tomorrow, is my track day, which I signed up for, which is a whole day event. It's not wheel-to-wheel racing, it's just timed runs. I believe it is a sort of big-ish go-kart track. They call it an oversized go-kart track, and they also call Miata's oversized go-kart, so apparently it ends up being quite a cool mix. This is going to be my first ever track. Before this, I've only ever done autocross, and only like one autocross, so this will be a fun experience. My goals for the event, I'm not looking to push lap times or anything. I'm just looking to make my way through the track and have a little bit of fun. That is my main goal for this entire event, especially the track day, is I'm just going to get on the track, hopefully put some cool looking laps in. They don't have to be fast, they don't have to be impressive or nothing. I just want to get through the track, give myself seat time and experience on the track, and give myself some HPD experience. The car, I did a little bit of prep last night. I had the car on stands last night in my garage. I didn't do much. All I did was brake fluid flush. I've had this car for like maybe almost 2 years now. And it's got 12,000 miles, over 12,000 when I started. Now it's 12,439 because we've gone 400 So it was still running the original factory brake fluid, no fancy high temp stuff or anything. So went ahead and flushed that all out, and now we're running Motul RBF 600, which is .4. I believe it's .4. Brake fluid, high temp stuff, good stuff. Used for racing all the time. Actually bought it at a local motorcycle shop because that was the one local place that was selling it. That's what you saw an extra bottle of in my trunk, just in case, but we shouldn't need it. I just like to be prepared. So other than the brake fluid flush, we are running completely stock factory brakes. So I am going to be a little bit careful to not overheat them. I don't know much about this track. I don't know how braking heavy it is. I don't know if the stock brake pads are going to be a problem. We're just going to be careful and find out. It's not that my brake pads are in bad condition or anything. My rotors are still great. My pads still have a lot of meat on them. I'd just be worried about, non-track pads and track. That was mainly my only concern. So far on this trip, Miata's done great. We are averaging 40 mpg, and it's not like I'm going like particularly slow or anything. I am a little bit right now because I got the GoPro on my head, and there's that truck up there with that trailer. I'm not too intent on passing anytime soon, but Miata's done great. I'd say my average speed the whole way over has been like somewhere in the 75 to 80 range, and averaging 40 mpg has just been amazing. As you can all, it's a Miata, so like it's a little loud in here. I've got the soft top. This is the Grand Touring, so I've got extra layers in my soft top to make it a little quieter, supposedly. I have never tested or confirmed that, but that's what Mazda says anyways. So, but it's still a Miata. It's still a soft top. It's still a little loud in here, so I'm playing music. It kind of alleviated a little bit, but it does get a little drony. But if you've driven this car for any amount of time on like any highway scenario, you're used to it. Passing power is okay. The power is there. There have been certain scenarios where because I'm in such a small car and I'm behind like big trucks, for example, I can't see that far out. So if I were to make a move, I would need a lot more power than this offers to be able to make some of these passing moves. But honestly, you just wait for like a good open downhill, and you go down into fourth gear, and you can go like 65 to 100 quite quickly. The main problem is just being able to see around whatever's in front of you. So we return at Moab. I just pulled off here at this is apparently a cool touristy spot, but it's closed. I missed it by like an hour, assuming I'm still in the same time zone. I think I'm still in the same time zone. But dang, Moab looks cool. There was another cool spot to pull off that I missed. So we're gonna not trespass on the private property. We're just gonna sit right here. I love that Jeep up there. This drive has definitely gotten, all of a sudden, a lot cooler. It was very boring before. And now, I'm at Moab, and Moab is pretty sick. Let's see if I can't grab like my camera right here. Ooh, I hear Jake brake. Oh, that is sick. Surprisingly, that's only like the second Jake brake I've heard all trip. Bunch of boring semis out there. Alright, got there. Hopefully my SD card is good. This is a cool place. Let's see if we can get something with the Miata. This might be a little big of a lens for how close I am. Ugh. Never mind. It's not bad. Goes up a bit. I can't use my fingers on the thing. Can't use my viewfinder with the GoPro on my head, so this is gonna have to do. How's that look? I wonder if I come in from the front, I'll be able to see. Oh, I probably will be able to see all that behind the car. That'll be pretty cool. Might have to re-angle it. There's nobody here, so, and no one's yelling at me to get off their property yet, so I've got some time to, oh, I should have started off the video right here. Oh, this is the angle. I was showing you all this. Oh, this angle right here looks amazing. Dang. Okay. We're going to be safe. This is a turn lane, so no one should be in it, hopefully, unless someone's trying to do some aggressive passing. Just like quadruple check. Oh, this angle. This is as far, I'm drawing the line right here. I'm not walking into the road. That's not happening. Oh, this guy's coming in this lane. I'll move. Oh, he's moving. Oh, thank you. Semi-truck drivers are awesome. They're so nice. Courteous. Like, all the time. They're just so nice for no reason. They've been my favorite so far on, like, every road trip I've taken. People in normal cars can be mean, driving habits-wise. The semi-truck drivers, as long as they're not like a Swift truck or something, are usually pretty cool and chill. So we love semi-truck drivers. Alright. Does this angle do anything for me? Maybe, actually, because there's that butte in the back there. If I get the wheels over, which is usually pretty easy to do in the Miata, even if power steering is off, because it's such a light car. Let's see if I can get those wheels pointing in a different direction. Oh yeah, easy. Get a small, light sports car. Why'd even bother giving this thing power steering? There we go. Oh yeah, line that up. Car, butte. And then, oh, we can get really far back. I hope these people know that I am not encroaching. I'm just getting cool pictures. Oh, another Jake brake. Oh, that's the third one. That's sick. Okay. So apparently all the Jake brakes we're gonna hear are gonna be sitting right here taking pictures of my car. If that's the case, I will sit here way longer and just listen to Jake brakes all day. Alright, turn my head. I have no idea how this is coming out on the video with me sitting here turning my head so that I can see the screen on my camera. So I'm going to pull out here. I'm going to be very safe about it. I'm going to look at the top of that hill. No one's coming. I'm going to pull into this turning lane. We're going to get up to proper merging speed. This is the safest way I can do this. This is for the safety of my fellow drivers. Okay, we can chill out now. And let's drive through Moab, because hopefully that wasn't all of it. And there's still some cool stuff. Okay, Waze is updated. It knows the direction I'm going. Take this nice and slow. This is a scenic drive. I've been kind of rushing through most of it, but now looks like we're going to do some twisties through Moab. It'll be some pretty cool views. I'm going to sit in the not passing lane, and I'm just going to vibe. And I'm going to take in Moab because this looks really cool. I should right. On the dashboard, I should downshift for this hill. Thank you. Now I'm going 45. Maybe I should go a little bit faster than 45, so I might come up behind me and get a little bit mad. Alright, I'm impressed. Moab has started doing these like dual duty passing lanes where like technically either side can use it, but that side gets priority. It looks a little dangerous at first, but I think I prefer it to all of the other passing situations I've been in so far. I guess aside from a dedicated passing lane, got some big looking potholes. They look patched, but looks like I'm gonna be forced to drive through this one. Yeah, try to avoid those as much as you can. A lot of cross country driving just ends up becoming a game of Minesweeper. They do a pretty good job of upkeeping these roads for what they are, but still got to be a little bit careful. So far, ever since I've gotten into Utah, though, these roads have been much better. This isn't the best road. So far, the smoothest road I've driven on is the one in the middle of nowhere, right at the border of Utah. I think they wanted to leave a good impression for people just coming in. Alright, it is now a little late. Not too late, I don't think. Turn that off. And is that screen ever going to go away? Can I see my trip? I can. So, 581 miles later, and at 9:30 p.m., we have arrived at the hotel. So, I will get some much needed sleep, and I will see you in the next one. And 1,347 miles later, full round trip, we are back in my garage. And you might notice in the corner of your eye that something is a little different. So this can be easier explained if I turn the car off. Let me get out of it real quick. I might have picked up something while I was at summer camp. Don't mind the incredibly cluttered garage. This will be gone eventually. This has just been the dumping ground while I've been moving. And this will all be fixed eventually. But the real meat and potatoes is currently in the trunk. Ooh, what is that? So, packing update. You saw in the beginning of the video, I had my backpack, duffel bag, and other stuff back here. Well, currently, there is a 17 by 9 bronze Kokegi and my backpack in the trunk. My duffel bag has moved to the front seat floor, along with an empty Dr. Pepper from the road, and 2 more 17 by 9 Kokegis. So, if you happen to find yourself in Colorado and you want to buy some wheels because you found a pretty nice deal and you've already got some stuff, you can fit 2 wheel boxes in the front seat and not a box, but 1 opened wheel in the trunk, along with your bag and your fluids and your extra tools and your scissor jack and stuff. So, I think that thoroughly proves that the Miata can handle road trips quite well. So, the story behind these Kokegis, let's actually unpack the car real quick. We'll come right back. So this is everything that was in the car. This was out a little later. Well, everything except that. That is an extra wheel. That's just been sitting there in my garage. Bonus points if you can guess what this wheel is from. Might be a video on that eventually, but yeah. No center cap. So it should be pretty obvious, but no center cap. Might throw a couple people for a loop, but that's a cool wheel. So this wheel, these 2 boxes were of course added afterwards. So originally we had my duffel bag, my bag, tools, and fluids. Those all fit in very nicely. But just to show off the power of Miata logistics, we added this. Kokegi, 3 Kokegis, 2 in boxes, 1 outside of the box. So, this is a 17 by 9 wheel, I believe 40 offset. Pretty cool looking with the bronze and everything. So, while I was at the Saturday of summer camp, which was just, a bunch of people meeting up at Flyin Miata headquarters, a bunch of seminars and the like, they had a scratch and dent sale, and they had 3 bronze 17 by 9 Kokegis for $99 each. If you don't believe me, there it is. Marked down from $249 to $99, which is amazing. I've been looking at wheels for a long while, trying to figure out what I wanted. Kokegis were on the list. Not gonna lie, the top of my list was 17 by 8s in deep silver, because I really like the aesthetic that's already going on with the stock wheels. Don't love the stock wheels the most. I think they're a lot better than the ND3 stock wheels. I don't think those look very good at all, but I kind of like the color scheme that's going. I like the, shiny silver. So I was originally looking at the deep silver Kokegis. I have also been looking at bronze wheels. I've been kind of torn between silver and bronze, but I kind of liked how it looked stock. So I was kind of in the silver camp, and I was also in the 17x8 camp, because I've heard 17x9, depending on your tire configuration, can do a little bit of rubbing, and you gotta modify some fenders, but you do get the extra inch of performance. Stock is 17x7, so this is an extra 2 inches on the wheel. So we are gonna see what happens. So of course, that was a deal I couldn't pass up. So we are now strictly in the 17x9 bronze wheel gang, and we're gonna see if we can make this work. So you'll notice I only have 3. This wheel is actually currently out of stock, so I have to wait for the 17x9 in bronze to come back in stock, order a 4th wheel, find some tires, mount and balance on the car, and then I know for sure Flyin Miata sells an extended rear brake line to clear bigger wheels, so I'll definitely need that. And then we'll find a tire setup that both takes advantage of our new wheel width and doesn't stretch too much, really fills it out, but also doesn't rub, and also won't rub if we get some suspension in here and get a little bit of lowering action too. So that'll be really fun to see on the car once all that happens, but I'm a little impatient. If I can find lugs that fit this, maybe even stock lugs, I mean, the lugs will fit. It's mainly will a socket fit around them is the main thing. We're gonna see if we can at least mount one on the car, see how it looks up in the air. I don't know, I think it'll look really good. So over here, we've got the before, and you come over to the front. Here is what the 17x9 Kokegis look like on the front of the Miata. I think it looks really cool. We are mounted up with the OEM lugs right now, or nuts. They just barely fit on the wheel. They're just on finger tight right now. Like, I can loosen these. That one's actually pretty loose. Tighten that one in. They're just on finger tight because none of these fit. Not this guy that I usually use to take my wheels off. Even this chrome thin thing doesn't really fit over it at all. It fits in there without the nut on, but with the nut, it's not going in. And also that would scratch up these wheels, but they look pretty good. There is like just enough clearance back here to the spring, like an inch. Also, some people say they run spacers on these. I don't know why. It looks like we've already got a tiny bit of poke out towards the edge. Of course, this isn't accurate because there's no tire. Suspension's completely unloaded, but from my eye, that seems to poke out a little bit. So fitting it might be perfect. I imagine if you put some suspension with a little bit of camber on there, it might go inside a little bit more. And that might be what people are talking about with spacers, but at least on stock suspension, this seems to fit perfectly. It looks great. Definitely have to get new lug nuts. Despite that they don't fit, I also don't know entirely about the chrome ones. On the bronze wheel, might have to get black or something like that, match the center cap. But I am really excited. I've got 2 more. Got to put some tires on these, get one more wheel, get these on the car, and see how some 17x9s perform on the Miata, both in like a track setting and daily driver wise, to see how much rubbing happens and how horrible these are to daily driving. Maybe I'll have to put these back on if I want to go to the grocery store. But you know, that's what you buy a second cheap car for, right? So that'll end this one out. I didn't do too much recording of the way back because it was more of the same, but I hope this kind of makes up for it. That we scored some new wheels and the Miata was able to bring them home and me home perfectly safely. Over like, what was it? 1,900 miles total. That counts the drive up. The little driving we did in Colorado and the drive back, Miata did amazingly. Only complaint is had a bit of a headache when I got back because one of the reasons I didn't record on the way back is because I made really good time. I drove like nonstop all the way back home because I wanted to get back a little bit early, and my head hurt a little bit because it's a little loud in there. And especially driving up all the hills with the Goodwin Racing exhaust. The Goodwin Racing exhaust, I think, is amazing. Doesn't drone a whole lot ever until you are driving up like a 5% grade hill for like 10 miles and you downshift to 5th gear and start putting some load on the engine, then it sounds like a shitty, you cut your muffler off and it drones a bunch. So keep that into account if you road trip a bunch and you buy a Goodwin Racing exhaust. Drones a little bit on hills when the engine's under load. But of course, other than that, it sounds great. So appreciate you guys watching this one. Of course, this was the road trip up to Colorado and back. If you're interested in what I did in Colorado, there'll be at least 2 more videos. 1, the track day, and 2, a really cool Colorado National Monument Guide drive. Those might be up when you see this. If not, stay tuned for those. Those are really cool, and kind of the whole reason I did this trip, of course, outside of bringing back home some wheels. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.